Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's trade review and live trading session. I know that the image on the screen isn't particularly good. I think you can hear from, if you can hear my voice okay, then you know that it is me. I just have to vacate my normal position for the sake of the Christmas tree, so that's the reason. There's no point being anything other than honest about it. So the markets have been very turbulent this week. I've had a roller coaster of a ride myself, getting caught up the wrong side of the rate, not the rate decision, but the forecasts for interest rate cuts from this point through to the end of 2025. Got caught the wrong side of that on Wednesday. Had a really spectacular day yesterday. And then I've had a shocking morning this morning where I've been on the wrong side. Lots of nervousness in the market. You can see that. You can see it in the swings that we've seen in the Dow. I still was looking for a bit of a rally into Christmas and beyond, into the beginning of the new year. It hasn't materialised, and certainly today I got caught out on those moves. Bitcoin, it has been extremely volatile. We've seen it get up to 108,000. I think it was probably on Tuesday. Probably traded around 107,000 on Monday as well. Got up fairly close to 108,000. It's traded down as low as 92,000 today. So a massive move, 15-16% of a move in a very, very short period of time, on the back of probably very little news. The news in general is that inflation isn't getting back to the target rate that the Fed are looking for, that being 2%. I've said it time and time again that the last part of that move is always the most difficult. I think this time, and I don't want to be judging this too quickly, but it might almost be impossible to get to 2%, but we shall see. That leaves the potential open that there could be a rate increase next year at some point if inflation does start to run away with it. The more positive piece of news out of the markets today is in relation to the PCE data that came out about 50 minutes ago now, which was better than the markets were expecting. So the PCE, the month on month was 0.1%. Which was as opposed to a forecast of 0.2%, and then the year on year the core PCE fell to 2.8% versus an expectation of 2.9%, so slightly better, contradicting some of the data that we saw earlier in the week, but the markets remain on a knife edge. We've seen these markets move wildly today. We've seen them move wildly during the week. And as we get closer and closer to this opening bell, there's every chance we'll see a little bit more of that. So if we look at the different markets for today and the moves that we've had already, just bring a bit of a crosshair onto here so you can see we've been down to 42,176 on the Dow, probably a little bit lower than that. I was looking to buy at this level, couldn't convince myself to get back involved at that particular time, and then you can see that we've rallied almost as much as 200 points at one stage to trade closer to that 42,400 level, but we're settling down at the moment about 42,350 before we have the opening bell in New York. Obviously prior to yesterday, where we saw the Dow up 15 points on the day, the Dow had been negative for 10 days in a row. Its worst performance for a 10-day period, or consecutive losses in 50 years. So you can see and sense the nervousness that we see in these markets at this particular time. So I did get stopped out earlier, so I'm really going to restrict my trading this afternoon, but I will, because this is a live trading session, I will take a trade as we get closer to the bell. For the time being, we're about just under 4 minutes away from the opening bell, so I'll continue talking for a little bit. I have to run off at 25.2, unfortunately, so I will need to cut this reasonably short, but I will be on Telegram straight after for anybody who needs to contact me. If you do have any questions, please ask those as quickly as you can this afternoon. So in terms of the other markets, gold I'm short gold, unfortunately. Gold has popped up to 26.15 and a bit of change. Obviously we are running into that Christmas period. Christmas Day is Wednesday of next week, so half day trading on Christmas Eve, and then of course no trading on Christmas. Currencies and crypto, if you do need some exposure over that period, those will be available. But as we get closer and closer to this opening bell, we're seeing a bit of positivity coming back in the Dow and those levels that we saw earlier in the day, a distant memory at this particular point. So the euro trades below 104. Sterling is trading at around the 123.50 mark, and then the DAX, which was taking a bit of a beating earlier today, is trading around 19,730. So after its record-setting levels up, getting close to that 20,500 level, the DAX has come off significantly as well. So we're just over 2 minutes from the opening bell. The Dow is coming off a little bit as I speak. We're back down towards that 42,340 area, probably been as much as 20 pips higher. So whether we are going to, obviously we are lower for the day already based on where we closed yesterday. So the market is going to open up a little bit weaker. What we're looking for is any signs of any form of momentum, be that extended selling pressure or people coming in and bidding this market and presenting a better picture going forward. So 90 seconds or just under 90 seconds now to go to the opening bell, pulling all the way back towards that 42,300 line in the Dow. Gold is trading 26.16, so still picking up there. Bitcoin, let's just have a quick look at Bitcoin on my phone. So less than a minute to go now to the opening bell. Sorry, I opened the wrong app. So Bitcoin is trading back at 95,347. So after that move down to 92,000 has picked up slightly over the last half an hour, 40 minutes or so. So fairly close to the opening bell now, still trading around that 42,330 level. Still, I prefer to be on the buy side of this market. Certainly, I was on the buy side of this market this morning. So the market is fairly close to opening now. We've seen a bid come through there, pushing us up towards the 360 level. Might see a continuation of that into the bell. And we're moving the other way. So we've pushed that a little bit lower there towards the 42,300 level. If we get close to 42,300, I think my inclination is to be on the buy side of this. I still think we have the potential to run into the end of the year. And whilst this nervousness certainly continues within this market, I do think there will be opportunities to pick this market up a little bit cheaper. So we just moved below 300 there. So I'm just going to buy there. So that order came through at, sorry, I think there was a price adjustment on it so I bought there at 42,291. So fairly close to where we are. At the moment, we've been a little bit higher. It is quite volatile, so we're still trading around that level, and popped up nicely there. So I'm just going to close there. There's probably 60 pips, 70 pips in that trade. Let me just see. So it was a nice trade, nice one for you to watch there as well. So let me just see how many pips were made on that. So we bought at 42,291 and sold at 42,356. So 65 pips in that trade. And we're still seeing a bit of a bid coming through in that market. Obviously, the gold trade remains against me. We're still trading 2616, and the Dow has pushed back up towards the 42,400 level. Just have a quick look to see what Bitcoin is doing. We've got 1 or 2 minutes to go before I have to call an end to this. So that was a nice, decent trade that we saw there on the opening bell. Just looking for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's popped up a little bit, back up towards 95,600. I think if we get to 96,000, I'd probably be looking to sell that market. I was selling those levels earlier this morning. Unfortunately, started to become a buyer far too early, and that was part of the reason for me stopping out. So the indices are a bit firmer. As I get ready to leave you here, and I'll go straight back on Telegram. Please post any questions that you have through to myself or Sam at bullandbearcat.com. Gold is holding around this 2616 level. We are coming into the weekend. There is, as I've already said, a certain degree of nervousness in these markets. Gold could potentially pick up a bid, but I'm happy to stay short for this time. I may add to the position if we get up towards the 2620 level, but for the time being, I'm reasonably happy with the exposure I've got. The DAX has pushed higher, nothing spectacular, but it has pushed that little bit higher, and both the euro and sterling have appreciated a little bit, but nothing to go too crazy over. Trades for the week. So I have a Dow trade as well to push in here now, which has about 65 pips on it. So as it stands, up about 195 pips for the week. One trade left to close, and I will join you on Telegram very, very shortly. As I've said, if you have questions, please put them through to me or Sam at bullandbearcat.com, and I'll get back to you during the course of the afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me.